you unravel all of those emotions, and I've unraveled all of them in a sense of like, give me space, going back, analytically seeing if there was ways what could I have done better, what we could have done better, thinking about the individual matchups.
There's no easy way to say this, so let's just say it. The Los Angeles Lakers just suffered one of the most embarrassing, avoidable playoff exits in recent memory. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not to this team. Not with this much star power. A roster headlined by LeBron James and Luka Doncic, two of the most uniquely gifted players to ever play the game, wasn't supposed to flame out in the first round. But they did. And now, the entire organization is left staring at the wreckage, trying to make sense of how it all went so wrong, so fast. It all started with a trade. The kind of trade that sends shockwaves through the league. The Lakers, in a moment of boldness that felt both brilliant and desperate, moved on from Anthony Davis in exchange for Luka Doncic. The thinking was clear. Pair the old guard with the new blood. LeBron's twilight with Luka's prime. A passing of the torch, sure, but also a chance to contend now, not later. But in their pursuit of offensive firepower, they made a fundamental mistake. They forgot how important balance is in basketball. With Davis gone, the Lakers had no one left to anchor their defense. No one to protect the paint. No one to do the dirty work that never goes viral on social media, but wins games in May. Once the playoffs arrived, that flaw wasn't just visible. It was devastating. The Lakers didn't lose to a juggernaut. They didn't run into the defending champs or a historic team peaking at the right time. They lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves, a young, hungry squad with structure, toughness, and size. In short, everything the Lakers didn't have. And in Game 5, it all came to a head. Rudy Gobert, once the poster child for playoff underachievement, turned in a masterclass. 27 points, 24 rebounds, and complete control of the paint. The Lakers were out-rebounded by 25 in the final 2 games of the series. That's not a margin. That's an indictment. And so, the questions began. And LeBron James, the NBA diva, addressed them head-on. On the debut episode of his podcast Mind the Game, alongside Steve Nash, LeBron broke his silence.
Shit, we entered the season well, but like you said, when it comes to the postseason, man, matchups sometimes doesn't determine how well of a regular season you had. It's the matchups. And
he was composed, but the frustration was there, just beneath the surface. He praised the Timberwolves, called them a team that was ready for the moment, acknowledged that the Lakers ran into a bad matchup. But beneath the professional tone was something else. The sound of a man who knows he's nearing the end of the road, and who feels he's being let down by those around him. Because LeBron can still perform. The numbers prove it. The highlights still come. But he can't do it alone. Wait, let me rephrase that differently. He can't lead the Lakers. Not at 40. And certainly not against a Timberwolves team stacked with defenders, length, and chemistry. And as the series slipped away and the Lakers began to unravel, the cracks became undeniable. There were stretches where the body language was ugly. Missed rotations, lazy closeouts, poor transition defense, and a general sense that the Lakers, in the most important moments of their season, were completely lost. LeBron needs to accept it. He's not the X factor anymore, and he needs to make space for others. Like Doncic, for example. A lot of fingers have been pointed at JJ Redick. The rookie head coach handed the keys to this high-stakes experiment. Redick was put in an impossible situation. Asked to make sense of a roster that no longer had a functional front court, no depth, and very little defensive identity. He tried everything. He benched Jackson Hayes, tried using Maxi Kleber, still recovering from injury, played small, then even smaller, switched defensive coverages mid-series. But nothing stuck. Because this wasn't a tactical failure. It was structural. The team simply wasn't built to survive in the playoffs, and the numbers bear that out. No team allowed more second-chance points than the Lakers this postseason. Minnesota got more shots at the rim than any other team, 28 attempts per game in the restricted area. That's not just a problem, that's a crisis, and it speaks to a deeper issue. that the Lakers traded away their defensive anchor in Davis, failed to replace him with any credible size, and expected their offense to make up the difference. Spoiler alert, it didn't. That brings us to Luka Doncic, a phenomenal individual talent, arguably the best offensive engine in basketball today. But in LA, he looked mortal. Not because he played poorly, but because he was asked to do too much. He carried the scoring burden, initiated every half-court set, and even tried to compete defensively despite limping his way through most of the series. And while LeBron gave what he could, and role players had moments, it simply wasn't enough. Luka was on an island. And that's not how playoff games are won, not even by superstars. And then there's the future, or rather, the lack of clarity around it. LeBron has a player option. He could walk. He's talked about wanting to play with Bronny, about wanting to compete for one more ring, about legacy. And right now, the Lakers are offering very little in the way of competitive certainty. They're out of draft picks. They have minimal financial flexibility. Their front court is a mess. Their coaching situation is unstable, and their best player might be a 25-year-old who hasn't fully committed to the franchise long-term. That's not a foundation. That's a ticking clock. For Luka Doncic, the offseason won't offer much rest. After a brutal playoff exit at the hands of the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Slovenian superstar now shifts focus, not to relaxation, but to resolution. His summer calendar is already filling up. First, he'll return to Europe to represent his home country in Eurobasket 2025, a tournament that holds personal meaning and national pride. But looming larger, at least in the eyes of the NBA world, is something more consequential: the possibility of a long-term commitment to the Los Angeles Lakers. Technically, Doncic is still under contract through the 2025-26 season, with a player option for the year after. But according to reporting from ESPN's Tim McMahon, all signs point toward a major decision arriving sooner than expected. Doncic is widely expected to lock in a contract extension with the Lakers this summer, one that could reshape not only the future of the franchise, but perhaps his own legacy. In the immediate aftermath of the Lakers' playoff elimination, Luka didn't directly address his contract status. He didn't need to. The tone was enough. In a quiet, reflective post-game press conference, he spoke not like a man passing through, but like someone trying to plant roots. "I'm really glad I am here," he said, his voice steady but clearly disappointed by how the season ended. "I had a great couple of months. I am still trying to learn about everything, about the city, about the team. I'm just trying to process everything." There was a raw honesty in those words. Not the grand declarations that make headlines, but the kind that hint at something deeper: investment. And that, perhaps, is what the Lakers need most right now. More than cap flexibility, more than draft picks, more than a new coach or a new scheme. They need certainty. And if Luka Doncic is indeed ready to provide it, that would mark a rare moment of clarity in an offseason already shaping up to be turbulent. At just 26, Doncic has made it clear that his ambition is bigger than numbers or accolades. He wants to win. And in LA, he sees that opportunity, not as a guarantee, but as a challenge worth accepting. Financially, the stakes are enormous. Luka is slated to make $46 million next season, and nearly $49 million the year after, stemming from the Supermax extension he signed with Dallas in 2021. But with the Lakers, he now has the chance to ink a 4-year deal worth approximately $229 million. A figure that reflects not just his market value, but the immense pressure and hope that will ride on his shoulders if he signs it. His play since arriving in Los Angeles certainly justifies the investment. In just 33 games with the team, combining regular season and playoffs, Doncic averaged 28.5 points, 7.9 rebounds, 7.3 assists, 1.5 steals, and even chipped in half a block per night. He carried the scoring load. He distributed. He rebounded. He competed, even through injury. He did everything but win a playoff series. And yet, his performance made one thing clear: this wasn't a rental. This was a glimpse of something bigger. The Lakers, for all their dysfunction, still represent something unique in the NBA. History, visibility, pressure. And for a player like Luka, one already forging a Hall of Fame career before 30, the chance to write the next chapter on that kind of stage may prove irresistible. And if the franchise can find stability around him, that gamble might finally pay off. But it starts this summer with a pen, a contract, and a decision that could define the next 5 years in Los Angeles. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.